On the Proving Grounds 2 this morning, gonna do a little coyote trapping. Got the Duke 550 series here with me, and we've got a new trapper on the property. His name is Evan, and we're super excited to learn some trapping techniques from Evan. Now, if you're looking to reduce coyote populations with trapping where you hunt, a nice technique is to go ahead and use cage traps or dog-proof traps and remove those raccoons and possums before you start putting steel in the ground. That way, you're not putting a lot of time and energy into making a coyote set, and then you roll up and you find a raccoon. For the past couple weeks, Drew and Seth have been trapping the Proving Grounds 2 pretty hard with the Duke cage traps, and they've caught a pile of nest predators. They've actually caught, as of today, 105 raccoons, possums, and a couple skunks. Research has shown that the closer trappers can remove those nest predators or fawn predators to nesting and fawn season, the better off those prey species are going to thrive. So we're real happy that MDC, the Missouri Department of Conservation, has extended the traditional trapping season on private lands up into April. That's allowing landowners that are serious about improving habitat and balancing wildlife populations, that gives them the opportunity to trap closer to that nesting and fawning season and help prey species thrive. Today we're on the trap line with Evan Kennedy. We've been walking around, scouting signs, looking for some locations to set some Duke traps. Now, we met Evan just a few weeks ago while we were touring a property, and he's actually helping that landowner trap on that property. So today, Evan's gonna walk us through what he's looking for when he's looking for a new trap location. He's coming into this property cold. Maybe you're a new landowner or you're just wanting to get into trapping. Evan's kind of in the same boat you are. He's kind of learning this property this morning. And so kind of gonna talk about what he's looking for when he's looking for a trap location, and then he'll walk us through the steps of anchoring those traps, bedding the traps, and even baiting. So if you're looking for some simple coyote trapping techniques, pull out your notebook and we're gonna follow Evan on the trap line. So Evan, we've been walking, looking for fresh sign, and I think really the first thing is location, and we've kind of already found a spot we want to put a trap.
Right.
But tell me what you're looking for as kind of we walk up. What are we looking for here?
So we're kind of walking up this road coming down through here that you guys drive on. You've got a lot of eastern red cedar, a lot of locust trees.
We haven't cut them yet, folks. We will cut them, make some habitat.
This is a perfect walking place for a coyote. Just like any other animal and just like us, we're gonna take the path of least resistance through the forest as they're hunting. Biggest reason I chose this location, we did find 2 piles of scat in the center of the road.
So fresh sign.
Yeah.
You're looking for fresh sign.
That's the #1 rule in trapping. It doesn't matter about anything else other than there's a track, there's scat, there's a den hole, there's fresh sign. You know that fur bearer is there, and now you just have to catch them.
And so we've got fresh sign, what we're seeing on the ground, and I would even group this into fresh sign as what's on our Moultrie mobiles. We have been studying our Moultrie mobiles, and we know there are coyotes in the area using this road, traveling through here, and we're kind of, that, if you will, that's the 30,000 foot view, and now we're putting boots on the ground looking for that microsite of exactly where that coyote is putting its foot in every step.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're not doing is getting in a truck and driving by at 10 miles an hour looking for sign. The best way to look for sign, trapping, hunting, get your feet out, get walking, look around, look on the ground. Me and Daniel earlier were walking about like a turtle, just looking heads down to the ground, wandering through, looking for little bits of tracks, scat, anything that tells us there's a coyote here on this road or in this part of the Proving Grounds too.
And depending on where you're trapping, finding sign, like we're here in the Ozark Mountains, folks, it's rock. I mean, the road we're walking on is like chat or gravel. Depending on your habitat, you have to adjust what you're looking for, and that sign may be real hard or faint to see.
Yeah.
we're looking for fresh sign. We're looking for these travel corridors where coyotes are spending a lot of time. And just like on these interior roads, we found, you know, multiple piles of scat along this interior road, so we know coyotes are using it. But the habitat features here, we're up on top of a ridge top, kind of back behind us is kind of a slope, and it's almost like they're working up on top of this ridge. And then we actually found tracks where they were diving off one side or the other as they kind of passed through here. So understanding the terrain too.
Yeah, one of the nice things about these roads running up on top of these ridges is it's very thick cover on either side of this road. So as that coyote is traveling along, he's using the wind to his advantage. A coyote makes his living with his nose. Comparatively to other animals, their eyesight's pretty poor, so their money maker is their nose. So when they're running up this road and they spot a flock of turkeys, they spot a deer, they are turning off of this road, getting in the brush, and starting to stalk here in the shadows and stuff. Another thing to note too is here we are in mid-February. This is peak coyote breeding season, so you're having a lot of males running the tops of these. They're trying to get thermals and wind directions of any females that may be in heat. So this is the time of year I definitely see them going up and down these roads more. It's just faster and easier for them to cover ground looking for a mate.
Yeah, yeah. So we've selected our trap site, and so here we are. We're gonna walk 20 yards here and start making our trap site here, and hopefully we can push through some rock. All right, Evan, break this down for us. So we have our trap site and we have scat, so we've got our fresh sign. Where are we putting our trap at this location?
Yeah, so where we're gonna put this trap actually is, as you can see, this is the pile of scat here where this coyote is running right down the center of this road. I brought in a rock right here, and essentially we're gonna put that trap right here.
Right in the middle of the road.
Yeah, right in the middle of the
Not
road.
off to the side.
No.
And why is that?
So I'm doing it right in the center of the road because we've got a northwest wind right now blowing across like this. It is in the next night going to switch to the south, which is going to come up this way. So if we put that trap, let's say over here in that bank over there, that coyote, depending on what side of the road he's on, he may not smell all that scent in that lure. Like I said, coyotes make their living with their nose. They have kind of poor eyesight, so you want them to be running down this. They're using their nose, and we're just going to use the natural wind to push this scent right back into their face. Yeah. So,
and important, not only the wind, but thermals too.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, we're here in the Ozarks Mountains, so we got to.
Yeah.
Just like when we're deer hunting, we're thinking thermals too.
Yeah.
So the wind may be forecasted out of the south blowing this way, but at night it may lay down next couple days. Yeah. And thermals will take over, and it's still going to be pushing down.
And we're pushing down this road, and you know, we found more coyote scat around the bend. So any coyote that's coming out in that general direction 100 yards away is going to smell this location, and he's going to work his way up here anyway. He's already been working his way here. Yeah. Probably every night running up and down this, so we're just gonna kind of sweeten the pot for him.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, Lacrosse Footwear, Moultrie Mobile, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, RTP Outdoors, Fourth Arrow, Hunt Stand, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Ward Laboratories, Burris Optics, National Land Realty, G5 Broadheads, Prime Bows, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
All right, so yeah, we've picked our location, staking. We want to make sure that we anchor our trap to the ground, so whatever we catch, you know, a coyote, we want to make sure that he's still here in the trap. So what we're using today is just a 1/8 inch aluminum aircraft cable and just a big reed bar stake with a washer welded on the end of it. What I'm gonna do is, that's where I want my trap to be. I'm gonna come over here into this little bit better soil over here, and I'm gonna pound this in. You can get any kind of a hammer. This is an 8-pound sledgehammer from Walmart that you can use. So one of the reasons that we've got a 6-foot 1/8-inch aircraft cable on one single stake, this was a bit better soil over here to drive this stake in. And there's many different types of way of anchoring traps. There's earth anchors, there's drags. If we were going to bed this trap and put the stakes right underneath of it, we would cross stake rebar to help secure that trap. But we're doing this today. This is what we got. Sometimes too, you can even anchor them to a tree, a pretty solid tree. You can just wrap the trap around with this cable. And you can even use all 3 of those. If we go down to one of these food plots down here where we've got better soil quality, we can put an earth anchor. And that's just essentially an anchor that drives in and pulls against the weight of the earth whenever something's pulling on it. Drags are used, essentially it's a grapple shaped hook that's attached to your trap with about a 10-foot chain on it with some swivels, and all I need to do is throw it off in the woods. Like over here we've got some eastern red cedar and some oak flats. That's a perfect place to throw in a drag. When that animal gets caught in that trap, he'll run a few feet, that drag will get hung up inside of some trees, some root balls, and that animal won't be too far from where you originally bedded that trap. To recap, I would not use a drag out in an open cornfield in Iowa. There's nothing for that drag to catch on to keep that animal where you left that trap. But like I said, here in the Ozarks, we would use that. Some of the northern states with topsoil, they drive rebar and they drive earth anchors. Some patches, most of it here in the Ozark, we're just not able to do that. And so, fortunately, we're lucky with this spot that we were able to get that between the limestone that's down below. So one of the things that I also want to talk about too is these swivels. This is just your regular swivels. I like to have at least 2 to 3 on this trap. And the reason for that is as that coyote is in the trap and he's spinning, we don't want that trap or himself to do any damage to himself by twisting or something. And this is beneficial in the fact that if you catch a non-target animal that you don't want to keep, all you have to do is let him out of the trap and he hasn't hurt himself. This is also beneficial in that your catch will still be there because that trap's twisted with him and he's not able to pull his foot out of the trap. This Duke 550 has an offset jaw, and this is just to help catch the animal, hold the animal. It's just a handcuff, just like the police. If they take you away, they put you in a handcuff. So swivels, very important. Whenever you're anchoring a trap, you always want to have swivels. So now we're going to get into bedding the trap. Bedding the trap is just getting the trap underground, covered up with dirt so the coyote doesn't know it's there. So I'm bedding this trap. I'm just going to where the trap is going to sit flush with the ground. I want it to just be like this coyote's just walking along. The ground stays the same. He stops, he smells some smells, smells another coyote scat, takes a couple of steps, and bam, you got him. Something that I use to bed these traps with is just dry barn dirt. This is just dirt that came from a barn that's never exposed to the rain. It's nice and dry. The reason I'm bringing in my own dirt and not using this chat or this rock, because what could happen is that piece of rock or whatever might get between the jaws and the coyote's foot, and it'll allow that coyote to pull out. So some folks use dry barn dirt, some people use peat moss, some people might even just put grass over the top of these traps. So one of the things I do first is I throw a little bit of this dry dirt in the bottom. And the reason for that is tonight it's going to get pretty cold and we don't want this already wet ground tonight to freeze to the bottom of our trap and hold our trap and keep it from setting off. So first thing I do is always dump a little down in the bed of it to set that trap on. So something you also want to consider when bedding a trap is if you get dirt underneath of this pan, it's going to prevent that trap from ever firing. So what I use is polyfill. This is just what you find in pillow stuffing, teddy bear stuffing. There's a wide array of things that you can use under or over a pan, such as screen covers, latex covers, polyfill. I've even used dry grass and leaves when I didn't have either of those things. So when bedding a trap, I want to make sure that this trap is rock solid, and by that I mean I can touch this anywhere around this jaw and that trap's not going to wobble. Because if that coyote is walking through here and he feels the ground shift from underneath of him, his reaction is to dig whatever moved and dig your trap out, and this is how you'll have a flip trap out and no catch. So also a part of the bedding is, you see we've got our cable over here staked off, and I'm just gonna cover this a little bit. One of the reasons is just in case that coyote comes walking through here, he's not like, hey, what's going on? Another reason is when we're checking traps and we're driving over this, we are not pulling that up, pulling the trap up and getting that wrapped up in a tire. So the reason we call this a flat set is you can see it's nice and flush with the ground. And now what we need to do is we need to bait and lure it. The reason we're baiting and luring it is we are going to make it look like another coyote has come through, he's hidden a snack, and the coyote that we're trying to catch is gonna come and steal it from him. There's many baits and lures out on the market that there is to choose from, and you just kind of find whatever one that works for you and whatever you're successful with, and different times of the year. This time of the year, we use a lot of gland lure as it's breeding season, and earlier in the season when the weather starts to turn cold and the animals start to get more hungry, we like to use a lot of baits. I would not use a bait that's unpreserved because that's going to attract possums, which are big carrion eaters. So I'm gonna punch 2 holes with just my driver and my hammer here, and the reason I'm putting it down in the hole is because I want that coyote to really investigate those holes, trying to get that bait and lure out of there, while also stepping all over that trap, and that's just raising your percentages of a successful catch. Get down that hole. Another thing I do is, after I've taken the bait out of the jar, I take this stick and I just throw it out in the lane, and what that's going to do is activate that coyote's nose to start sniffing around whatever that bait and where it is. Here we're going to use a little gland lure. This gland lure is actually harvested from a skunk. This is the essence of a skunk. It's a very smelly smell, as most of you know, and it carries a long distance, and it's a curiosity for coyotes to come and investigate why that skunk sprayed. What is that? This is beaver tail oil. This is homemade. This is what you get when you render down the tails of beaver. Yeah, so this time of the year, I love to use multiple different scents. All you're doing is getting the curiosity of that coyote. You're making them smell all these different smells. And really what you're doing is you're buying time. And what I mean by buying time is the longer that coyote works your set and the longer he steps around, the higher your percentage of catching that coyote is gonna go up. Another thing I like to do is visual attractors. Although coyotes do have poorer eyesight than some animals, they still can see some things. So one of the things we're doing is we've got a nice big rock out here, and here I'm taking some rabbit fur from a rabbit that we harvested, and I'm just gonna add it right to one of those holes, and that's just gonna further confirm in that coyote's mind that something was killed here, a coyote has buried it, and I'm gonna steal it. Now make sure whenever you're using fur or feathers, make sure it's legal in your state.
Hey, thanks for coming down, Evan, sharing your trapping techniques. Man, I'm looking forward to maybe seeing a coyote spinning here in the next morning or two. And you're out all the time with your family. You got kids. They're running the trap line with you. We're out joking around today, putting steel in the ground. This is a great way to get outside, enjoy creation, learn more about critters and the creator. And I hope you slow down as you're outside and listen to what the creator is saying to you and the purpose he has for your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.